Attention all smokers, tokers, and true connoisseurs. Simple Pleasures is your one-stop hemp and smoke shop right here in Hagerstown. From premium flower and potent THCA to exclusive glass pieces and the best vapes in the game, we've got everything you need. And now, catch us on the Smoke Me Out podcast, where we bring the biggest names, community leaders, and the latest in the industry. So whether you're rolling up, dabbing out, or just vibing, Simple Pleasures has your back. Pull up today or shop online. Simple Pleasures. Shop, smoke, chill, repeat. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We are incredibly proud to have North Atlantic Seed Company sponsor us. They're leaders in the seed game, providing top-tier genetics to growers across the country. Their commitment to quality and innovation aligns perfectly with what we're all about. Be sure to tune in each week for exclusive giveaways and your chance to snag some amazing seeds from one of the best in the business. Big thanks to North Atlantic Seed Company for their support. Now let's grow together. Life's busy, but your love for fresh, pesticide-free, homegrown cannabis shouldn't have to wait. Meet Anabato, your personal cannabis growing robot that makes growing at home effortless. With AI-enabled watering, feeding, growth tracking, and a sleek app, it's never been easier to go green. Whether you're a plant pro or just starting out, Anabato helps you grow with confidence, and it's a beautiful device that can proudly sit in your living room for all to admire. Ready to grow smarter? Visit Anabato.com today and take all the guesswork out of growing your cannabis at home. Anabato. Grow effortlessly. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We're thrilled to have Moyo Love Juice Joint joining the Smoke Me Out family. They're leading the charge in the hemp and cannabis beverage space with their incredible infused drinks. Whether you're looking to relax or vibe out, Moyo has something very special for you. Don't forget to check back each week for exclusive giveaways, and you could be sipping on the best in the game. Huge shout out to Moyo Love Juice Joint for their support. Let's raise a glass and keep the good vibes flowing. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We're excited to share that Tony's Pizza in Williamsport is now a part of the Smoke Me Out family. Tony's is the go-to spot for delicious, mouth-watering pizza and amazing service that never disappoints. We're proud to partner with a local favorite that always delivers. Check back each week for exclusive giveaways. You might just score a free pie or some awesome swag. Big thanks to Tony's Pizza for supporting the podcast and the community. Let's keep it cheesy and support the local businesses. Welcome to the next episode of the Smoke Me Out podcast. Boy, do I have a good one for you this time. Today we are joined by a legend, Mr. James Ellsworth.
Am I at legendary status now?
I think so. I would have to say so.
Maybe
all
around
the shit
here.
You've talked over the years and you're still here. Come on now.
Maybe around here in Maryland, where I'm from. Maybe local legend. We'll go with that.
When you first got into professional wrestling, was there a moment or a match that made you say, you know what, this is it. This is what I want to do?
Yeah, well, so there's two answers to that. One, when I was a kid, it was like 1989. I'm 5 years old, and I saw the Ultimate Warrior on TV. I was like, man, holy crap, he looks cool. Like, so that's what made me start watching. But, man, I remember WrestleMania 12, the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. And I remember when that match is over, I'm like 11 at the time. I was like, man, I think I want to be a wrestler. After whatever it was, the match was great, and Shawn was my favorite, Bret was my second favorite. Whatever they did that day, that's when I decided, this is what I want to do.
Something in you just clicked.
Absolutely.
I used to love Shawn Michaels, man. The, what was it, the DTF? Or what was their group called with Triple H?
DX, Degeneration X.
God,
yeah.
dude, I had all their DVDs and shit, man. It put a little attitude into the younger generation, stand up for yourself.
Yeah, we were in high school telling people to suck it and getting suspended and, all that fun stuff.
That was still around when I was in school. I definitely had my fair share. I got caught doing that to a teacher once when they had turned around. Thanks, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, for that. What was your first experience like training in a ring? Did you find it tougher than you had expected?
No, I knew it was going to be tough, man. So I started in 2002, and by then, like, the first Tough Enough came out, like, probably a year before in 2001, the one Maven won.
Yeah.
And, watching it on TV, watching how they were taking the bumps and all, like, I had an understanding just off of that. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be tough. The ring's not a trampoline. The ring hurts.
Yeah.
To this day, I've been doing it 23 years since I was 17. I'm 40 years old. You don't get used to taking bumps. It always hurts. It's always going to hurt. And there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah, like, I knew it was going to be hard going in for sure.
Yeah. I've always wondered, like, you guys plan and try to execute down to the T, but, every so often something might go a little wrong. Have you ever slammed the wrong way and you're like, oh, my God, I just want to get out of here, but you got to finish on the show?
Oh, man, yeah, all the time.
Almost every hit.
Yeah, like, well, so, I broke my hand one time in a match, and it was like the beginning of the match, like a minute in. And I wrestled the rest of the match with a broken hand, which the doctor told me afterwards, why didn't you roll out of the ring and go to the back and seek medical attention?
Oh, right.
And I'm like, that's not, the way I was taught in my generation, in my day, you got to finish the match. And that's just embedded in your head. So I've had that happen. I've had teeth knocked out in the middle of matches. I've cracked my rib in the middle of matches. Nothing, knock on wood, nothing too serious where I couldn't wrestle the next week. Even with a broken hand, I just put a cast on it at the doctor's office, and they told me not to wrestle, but I wrestled anyway with a cast. Yeah, I used it as a weapon. So, knock on wood, no surgeries or anything, but yes, cracked teeth, knocked out teeth, cracked ribs, torn rotator cuff. I've broken both hands, not at the same time, but yeah. So just, to me, I guess people might listen to this and go, well, it's still a lot. To me, that was very minor stuff for what we do. Right. So I've been very lucky and fortunate.
You always hear about, sometimes the wrestlers might not always get along behind the scenes, and some of that feelings for each other can come out in the ring where, it's just all out there. No one would be able to tell any difference. Like, them guys are actually going at it. Have you ever had a grudge match like that?
Well, here's the thing. So wrestling's like any other job where when you go to a job, there's people you work with that you love, and they're going to be your friends forever. You just have a connection. And there's people you work with where you can't stand the person. You don't want to be around the person. And, wrestling's no different. The only different part of it is you are going into the ring and putting, your hands on each other, and you're supposed to be doing it respectively. And you do get taught since day one to be professional and not, go into a shoot fight even if you don't like each other. And I would say 99% of the time that doesn't, even if you don't like each other, you're going out there and you're being professional because that's what you're taught from day one. But there has been some instances where, things got out of hand and you throw. For me, like, it's only been a couple times in 23 years where, like, if somebody hits you for real, and it might be a mistake. A lot of times that happens where you get cracked in the eye for real or something. You're like, and then, the guy will say, sorry, right away. And then they know a receipt's coming. You're taught a receipt. So they hit you hard, and now they know you're going to hit them hard back. So, I've been in situations where somebody hit me hard. I'm like, okay, receipt time, and I hit them hard, and then that made them even more upset, and they start hitting me hard for real. They were really fighting. That's happened maybe a handful of times, but then we grab what we call a hold. We grab a hold, go to the mat, and we start talking to each other. That's normally how it ends. Yeah. But for me, it's never escalated any further than that for me personally.
That's good. I can picture it, man. After like 2 minutes of really slugging, you're like, all right, man, fuck. All right,
let's chill out. We're putting on a show here.
What a show, right? Yeah. Who were some of the early influences or mentors that helped shape your in-ring style or mindset?
So, man, like I said, when I started, I was very young. I was 17. I literally graduated on a Saturday, and then on that Tuesday, I started wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I took the weekend off, you know what I mean, that Sunday, Monday. And I started wrestling on that Tuesday, so I was very young, and I went to Bone Breakers in Baltimore, it was called at the time. And, Axel Rotten was the head trainer for a little bit when I first started, and then he had left from there. But I was learning a lot from him. I was like, man, I wish he was still here. We had R.J. Meyer, who was the bruiser for MCW. He was a really good trainer. He trained people this is back in 2002 when he was trained to be. He trained people all the way up till, he passed, here a few years ago.
Oh, man.
So he was a very good trainer and mentor. Him, so Joey Matthews was around back then. I used to love it. He would come to the school sporadically, maybe once every other week or whatever, because he was a busy indie wrestler. He moved on to be Joey Mercury for WWE, and was like one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions with Eminem. And I just, so those are the ones that stick out. But after I left, after that wrestling school was over, I went to that wrestling school for a year, 4 or 5 days a week for a year. I was going to this wrestling school. And they moved on. They didn't renew their lease, and they kind of moved on for a couple of years. And I went on the road back with Axl Rotten, who was a ECW original, who had traveled the world. He had did all the big companies. And that's where I learned a lot, was from Axl Rotten. And I don't think I would have ever made it to WWE without the tutelage or the Axl Rotten being my mentor and showing me the ropes and showing me how the business is supposed to be done and how I could get over with an audience, any audience. That's who I learned the most from, for sure.
Absolutely, man. When I know I've heard you talk about it a little bit, but a lot of people thought you were never supposed to make it. I'm sure when you first started grinding it out in the indie scene, you had faced some big challenges, and I'm sure a lot of it was just doubters. What do you recall being the biggest challenge on the indie scene coming up before the WWE?
Biggest one, so if you look at me, you're looking at me right now. I'm 5'8". I'm 170 pounds soaking wet. I'm not. I look like a normal guy. I don't look like Randy Orton or John Cena or CM Punk or the Roman Reigns. These guys that look like such stars, right? So that was the biggest challenge, is no one taking me seriously, because you take one look at me, you're just looking away.
Right.
So that was the biggest challenge. It's okay, I have everything going against me. How do I get to the next level? Because this is very challenging for a guy that looks like me, who's not, I'm athletic enough, but I'm not going off the top rope doing 450s. That's another thing. People say, hey, man, you're small, you got to fly. And my mindset was, man, I really don't want to fly. I don't want to bust my knees up. I don't want to be paralyzed when I'm 65. I want to be able to, play with my grandkids. I always thought that. So I'm like, man, I just want to be entertaining. I have to be an entertainer. And that's what Axl always taught me. Well, if you're not going to fly, you better learn how to be really, really entertaining. So I took that to heart. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge, just, me being a normal guy looking, like I do. So.
Winner of the 2024 International Cannabis Awards for Best Online Seed Shop and offering more than 2,500 strains from over 50 of the industry's best breeders, North Atlantic Seed Company is your one-stop shop for quality genetics. From U.S. elites like Ethos, In-House, Compound, Soulfire, and Humboldt Seed Company to international greats like Barney's Farm, Dutch Passion, Mephisto, Greenhouse, and Fast Buds, North Atlantic Seed carries a thoughtfully curated menu of photoperiod and auto-flowering genetics designed to accommodate every budget. North Atlantic Seed Company is a woman-owned and family and friend-run passion project whose vision since inception has been to take care of their customers and promote collaboration and kindness in the cannabis community as a whole. That means unparalleled customer service that is responsive, considerate, and professional. It means the fastest shipping in the U.S. and loads of quality freebies with every order. And above all, it means an integrity that is unrivaled. Was there a certain promotion or match that felt like your big breakthrough moment before the WWE call? Were you like, man, I might really have a chance at this being a career now?
Well,
or you just never gave up?
So
there was never any doubt?
When I first took over ACW, when ACW first started, I was the booker very early into ACW in 2009. I started booking ACW, and I remember watching my ideas play out in front of, audiences, we a couple hundred people, and people reacting to these ideas. And I started thinking, maybe I have an opportunity to be a booker for a major wrestling company. Maybe that's my calling. I don't know. And then I would say there was no moment before WWE I was like, well, maybe I should be a WWE superstar. That right. that never occurred to me. But I feel like when ACW started doing well, and I took ACW over as the promoter and as the booker in 2012, I believe. So that's been 13 years. And I remember back then, and the shows started being profitable, and I started picking up sponsors, and start, and the shows were fun, with what I had to work with, they were a lot of fun, and people were enjoying them. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm okay at this. That's when it clicked, and that's 10 years into my career,
right?
Where I'm like, all right, maybe I can keep learning and keep getting better at this, because what I'm doing now, for where I'm at now, is working. So that about 2012, I think 10 years in is where I felt like I really understood the business, to answer that question.
That's a great answer. How did your opportunity with the WWE come about? Did you know it would be anything more than a one-off appearance at first?
Oh, no, not at all. So when they come to local areas, anyone can be an extra. Anyone with any little bit of experience can go be an extra for WWE. And what I mean by extra is they'll book local indie guys to either get squashed in a match real quick, which means just get beat up real quick, or you can come to the TV that day, Raw or SmackDown or whatever it is, and they could say, hey, we need somebody in a doctor outfit. Who looks the most like a doctor? Or we need security guards. Who's like big and bulky that looks like a security guard? When you, honestly, and I don't know who needs to hear this, if you get picked to do a squash match against a wrestler, that's not a compliment.
Right.
What I mean? That means their guy looks so much better next to you. They want people watching to pay attention to their guy, not you. So if you just look like some schlub, they'll be like, oh, this guy, people watch him like, oh, this guy's got his ass kicked. This is fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so it's not a compliment that they pick you for a match. It's actually, them going, you don't look like, so we're going to have this guy just, our superstar, look like such a star next to you. That's why you're in the match. So yeah, so they would come to town. I would know people there. Derek Moore, who was a referee there at the time, was one of my best friends I went to wrestling school with. I'm still real good friends with him to this day. He would help me out. Like, I would send him my resume, and he'd pass it along, and I would get booked to be an extra. And that started happening, pretty, that happened before, in the mid-2000s, I was an extra a couple times. But, I would say 2014, it started being every time they came around, I would get booked, because I would go there, mind my business, do what they would ask. I was a Rosebud one time for Adam Rose, and
nice.
and I'm not asking these wrestlers for pictures in the back. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. And catering, I'm waiting last to get a plate of food. I'm letting all the WWE guys go first. So it started to happen pretty normally, around 2014. Getting opportunities just to be an extra.
That's awesome, man. Sure, looking back now, it's like, you never really realized what you were getting into, it just was another day at a time. But looking back, that was the beginning of it right there.
Yeah, man. And then, 2016, again, it was just another day at the office being an extra. At this point, I did it 8 times, been there 8 times, and never got used for a match because, I don't look like much, but at the same time, I do have, bleach blonde hair, and I do have some tattoos, and I look like a little something. They want plain looking guys to do their job. But that particular day, 2016, July 25th, 2016, they're like, all right, we need somebody for Braun Strowman, and Arn Anderson was the agent for the match, and he goes, whoever throws the best punch is going to get the match. And he picked me first because I was the smallest guy, and I threw a punch, and he didn't even ask to see anybody else. He said, okay, you got the match. I'm like, whoa. So, that's how I got the match with Strowman, and that's what really kicked things off.
Man, speaking of that match with Strowman, the line with any man with 2 hands really blew up. Did you expect that moment when you said it to turn into a full-out storyline?
So, I'll tell you, it's a really good, and I'm going to do it in 90 seconds or less, the story of me and Braun Strowman. So, get picked for the match. The match before me was Sasha Banks winning the women's title for the first time, right? Oh, wow. And I'm in gorilla position. There's Vince McMahon, there's Triple H, there's Stephanie McMahon, there's all these people I grew up watching, and they're right in front of me. And Sasha Banks was my favorite women's wrestler at the time. And I'm watching her, because I watched her whole NXT career, and I just really, really enjoyed her work. And she gets to the back, and I'm watching Stephanie McMahon hug her after winning the title, and Vince McMahon hugging her, and Triple H hugging her. They're like, hey, Ellsworth, you got to go out. You got to go out. So I walk through the curtain, and when you're an extra talent back in those days, I don't know how they do it now, you're not allowed to walk down the ramp. You got to walk side ramp and then kind of through the crowd and then out where the bell keeper is, and then in the ring. Oh, wow. So I walk down the ramp, and I get in the ring, and the first thing that happens is the referee looks at me and goes, you're not supposed to, you weren't supposed to walk down the ramp. So right away, I was like, already scared my first time in front of 10,000 people. And then JoJo, who's such a sweetheart, she's a ring announcer, and she goes, "Hi, I'm JoJo, nice to meet you." And this is all happening during the commercial break. So she calmed me down. She's like real nice. So that calmed me down. I told her that one time. I was like, you really, I was like nervous as hell, and you made me feel comfortable. And then Brian Saxton gets in the ring. He's like, "All right, we're doing the promo in 3, 2, 1." And I'm like, "Wait," and I'm like, "Holy crap!" So I go into the promo. And the "Any man with two hands has a fighting chance" line was my line. I asked, which was very ballsy of me, asked if I could put into the promo. And Jimmy Jacobs, who was a great writer, he's a former wrestler for Ring of Honor, great writer for WWE. He said, "Oh, yeah, man, it's a great line. Go ahead and say it." Because basically the story is you're saying your last words before Braun Strowman is going to kill you. That was his story, not mine. He was going to do this every week, and he did every week after that for 6 weeks. So I say the line or whatever, have the match. Match is over, and I felt like I did pretty good in the match. As soon as I hear the 3 count, it was a breath of fresh air, and I was like, all right, I felt like that went well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get to the back. Arn Anderson, who was the producer, goes, "Hey, man, you did great. Vince wants to see you." And I was like, Vince wants to see me? And I thought about, holy crap, he's going to yell at me for walking down the ramp.
Oh, yeah.
I was scared to death. I was like, oh, my God, he's going to belittle me in front of everybody and throw me out of this arena, and I'm never going to be allowed back here again. That's what was going through my mind. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to hurry up and get this over with. So I hurried up to Gorilla. He's coming down the stairs, Gorilla, asking where I'm at. "Where's that kid at? Where's James at? Where's that?" And I'm like, "I'm right here, sir. I'm right here." And he goes, "Come here." And I go, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Your facial expressions were great. Your selling was great. Your promo was amazing. I have no choice but to hire you. I'll be in touch." And he just walks away from me.
Oh, my gosh.
He just walks away from me. And the Triple H comes up behind him and goes, "Hey, man, he's not kidding. Like, we'll see you again. Like, you're gonna get hired." Damn. And I'm just standing there, think about all the emotions I just went through. And not to mention, I'm beat to death because Strowman completely whooped my ass for real.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad at him. You know, you're on TV, you're a nobody. He's a monster. He has got to make himself look like a monster. He beat the hell out of me, and you know what? Maybe that helped the match a little bit, so I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how people think, well, man, afterwards you had the memes online and people were online were fighting for you, and I appreciate all that, and that's all great. But the reason I got hired is because Vince McMahon just hired me right after the match because he thought I was good at all those small things that I needed to be good at to get noticed.
If you weren't a flyer, you had to be good at that, right?
Yeah, I had to be good at all those small things. I had to be great at all those small things. And that's my talent. I can tell a story with my face, and I can sell real good, and I can talk real good. Like, those are my talents, and those are talents in the wrestling business. It doesn't sound like much maybe to the normal person, but in wrestling, you need those things to become a star. Yeah, I'm not that athletic. I don't look great. I had all those things against me, but
right.
My strengths I did to the best of my abilities, and that's what got me there. Yeah.
Absolutely. What was it like working with superstars like AJ Styles and Carmella during your time with the company? I know we talked briefly about Carmella. I mean, that would be like a dream come true for me, man. Beautiful woman, very great at her job, very entertaining to watch, probably 10 times stronger than I ever will be. Just a specimen of a wrestler.
Yeah, she's a amazing talent. So I'll start with her. Like, most of the time I was there was spent with her. We had 13 months on TV. I was there 2016, 17, and 18, but I did 13 months straight with her, and it felt like I was with her every day because back then we were doing 4 or 5 shows a week, and then sometimes we would go on 2 or 3 week tours to the UK or to Japan or like all those places, China, and I was always with her, and we became close, like friends. We were cool, man. Like we were just cool. I never had a sister. It's probably the closest thing I ever had in those days because, like, I've never spent that much time with a woman without it being my significant other.
Right.
And she was so fun to work with, so great. We had the great moment with Money in the Bank, which ultimately led to her become champion. So my job my role with her was like a manager role. And when you become a manager, your job is to get that person to level up. And a lot of them don't succeed at it. I got her to level up, man. She won the Money in the Bank, and she became champion. I did my job with her. It was mission accomplished. I just saw her recently after not seeing her for like 5 or 6 years. I just saw her at a signing over the weekend. We just, hit it off right where we left it off. Hi, how you doing? How's your kids? How's my kids? I hugged, talked about the old times. Just a great girl to work with, Now, AJ, man, I had so much respect for AJ Styles before I ever got to WWE, before this opportunity ever happened.
Yeah.
And so when Vince brought me back, that was 6 weeks later. They didn't have a plan for me. I happened because Vince just wanted to hire me and wanted me right on television. So these writers had to come up with ideas for me. And they brought me back, and I did a SmackDown where AJ and I were supposed to team against John Cena and Dean Ambrose. And you got to think about it this way. 2 months before this, I'm wrestling at VFWs and American Legion halls and bingo halls. And then 2 months later, I'm advertised at SmackDown, and you can look it up. It's me and AJ Styles against Dean Ambrose and John Cena.
Doesn't get really bigger
You're
than that.
What the heck is going on? But they did a thing where The Miz came out and beat me up and took my spot in the match. And he teamed with AJ. And things change there all the time. They told me after match, all right, we'll see you in a few weeks. You'll come back. You'll wrestle The Miz. And I was like, oh, man, that's easy. So a couple weeks, they call me. They're like, hey, man, we're flying you in, to wrestle The Miz. It was in San Jose, California, so a flight from Baltimore to San Jose is 5 hours and some change.
Yeah.
So on the flight, man, I'm watching nothing but Miz matches. I'm getting myself ready, right? I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be easy. The Miz looks like so much fun to work with. He looks like it's just easy. This is going to be a cakewalk. I get there, and they're like, all right, well, they had to change their plans. You're wrestling AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is the WWE champion at the time.
Oh, man.
And they're like, and you're winning. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no. And I thought they were kidding. I laughed at it. I was like, ha. And then I get to the, they call it the bowl, around the ring in the arena. Before, to go to rehearsal. And they're like, hey, so, Ambrose is going to be the referee who AJ was feuding with at the time. I go, oh, crap, I am beating him. As soon as they said he was a referee, because obviously there's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors, and he's going to help me win. I was like, I'm beating the WWE champion. It's not for the belt, but, I'm in the ring. At that time, AJ Styles was the absolute best wrestler in the world. In ring. The best. There's no bigger star than John Cena at the time, right? But AJ in the ring was the best. Technical wrestler, high flying, everything together in the ring. Nobody could touch him. And I'm in the ring with him. And then I started to get more nervous than I've ever been in my life, because I had so much respect for him.
Yeah.
And so that was our first of 4 matches. I beat him 3 times in a row before he finally got me. But and it was always smoke and mirrors how I would beat him. But I can tell you this. AJ Styles as a person is just as good as he is as a wrestler. He made me feel so comfortable. I was so nervous that first day, and I was, I had the jitterbugs, and I just got more and more comfortable with him, and I could wrestle him in my sleep now. It's just because he's just as easy as The Miz, but you wouldn't know it because he's so athletic and all. But nah, man, I can't say enough good things about AJ Styles for sure.
That's great. I'm sure they'd be glad to hear that. Behind the scenes, what was one of the most surreal or memorable experiences for you during the WWE run? I know you mentioned when McMahon came and told you that, but if you had to pick a close second, if that would be number one.
Yeah, definitely the McMahon thing. So I'll give you a couple of funny moments, then I'll give you the answer. Yeah. 2 funny moments. One, I was in catering one time. This was in Brooklyn, New York, SummerSlam 2017. And I'm sitting there at catering eating. This guy sits next to me, and he's like, hi, James. And I look over. I'm like, oh, hi. And then I look at him again. I was like, oh, that's Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, who knows more about wrestling than I probably do. He beat me in a trivia. We did a trivia wrestling tournament at StarCast 2018 in Chicago. And I beat, Brian Myers and Colt Cabana. And, he beat a couple of wrestlers. It came down to him and I. And he won the tournament.
Oh, wow.
He beat me in the finals. I was like, son of a bitch.
He knows a lot about it.
Yeah, he's smart. So that was one. Number 2, another celebrity, and I'll get to the real answer. Yeah. I'm walking backstage just as in Los Angeles, and this is the same day that I'm going to say the other story too. We're in Los Angeles. It's 2018, and I walk and I see Topanga from Boy Meets World, and I just froze. I'm like, because we all had crushes on her when we were kids, right?
Oh yeah.
And she's like, hi, I'm, whatever her name is, Daniel Fisher. What was it, Danielle?
I think it is
Danielle. Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm James. And I froze, and I never do this, but I don't get starstruck at all, ever. And I'm just looking at her. I'm like, holy crap. And I forgot to ask for a picture because, you know what I mean?
I was one of those.
So I regret it because I got a picture with Macaulay Culkin from that day. I got pictures with Kid Rock, all kinds of, stars. But I didn't get one with her, and I should have. But that same day, here's the biggest story where I was like, wow. The Rock was there filming Fighting My Family, which was the movie about Paige. And they were filming some scenes that day because we're in L.A. And I was like, I want to meet The Rock. I haven't met The Rock. Obviously, I respect who he is. You know, he's the biggest star in the world right now. You know, so I was like, I want to meet The Rock, and I can't find him anywhere. Nobody's seen him. So I see him walking down the hallway, and he had his big entourage with him. And I was like, whatever, I'm gonna go up and shake his hand and meet him. So I go through his entourage, and I'm like, hey, Dwayne, I'm James. Nice to meet you. And he was like super busy. And he looks at me and goes, hey, James, great job on television. Keep doing your thing. And he shook my hand and he kept going. And that was it. I was like, oh, that's great. That's a great experience. Then they asked me to be this is like an hour later. They asked me to be an extra in the movie. And I am. I'm in that movie sitting in the crowd when she comes out and sees the ring at the first time. And one of the writers said, that's probably because you went out of your way to say hi to him and you were respectful. Like, he probably said, hey, throw him a bone, put him, like, because you weren't written into this. And if you find the movie and pause it, you could see me there. And I got a pretty good payday for that. maybe.
Really? Nice.
And maybe it's because I just said hi to him. Which, Dwayne, if you ever hear this somehow, and thank you, I guess, if it was you. But that was a cool experience. And that was the only time I've ever met him. And, that was
I would
sweet.
like to think he had something to do with that, too.
I think so, because, like, why, it's just... I said hi to him, and an hour later,
No one gets that lucky,
right?
right?
Yeah, I think he's like, yeah, throw that kid a bone. He's nice. He was respectful.
Attention all smokers, tokers, and true connoisseurs. Simple Pleasures is your one-stop hemp and smoke shop right here in Hagerstown. From premium flower and potent THCA to exclusive glass pieces and the best vapes in the game, we've got everything you need. And now, catch us on the Smoke Me Out podcast, where we bring the biggest names, community leaders, and the latest in the industry. So whether you're rolling up, dabbing out, or just vibing, Simple Pleasures has your back. Pull up today or shop online. Simple Pleasures. Shop, smoke, chill, repeat. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We are incredibly proud to have North Atlantic Seed Company sponsor us. They're leaders in the seed game, providing top-tier genetics to growers across the country. Their commitment to quality and innovation aligns perfectly with what we're all about. Be sure to tune in each week for exclusive giveaways and your chance to snag some amazing seeds from one of the best in the business. Big thanks to North Atlantic Seed Company for their support. Now let's grow together. Life's busy, but your love for fresh, pesticide-free, homegrown cannabis shouldn't have to wait. Meet Anabato, your personal cannabis growing robot that makes growing at home effortless. With AI-enabled watering, feeding, growth tracking, and a sleek app, it's never been easier to go green. Whether you're a plant pro or just starting out, Anabato helps you grow with confidence, and it's a beautiful device that can proudly sit in your living room for all to admire. Ready to grow smarter? Visit Anabato.com today and take all the guesswork out of growing your cannabis at home. Anabato. Grow effortlessly. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We're thrilled to have Moyo Love Juice Joint joining the Smoke Me Out family. They're leading the charge in the hemp and cannabis beverage space with their incredible infused drinks. Whether you're looking to relax or vibe out, Moyo has something very special for you. Don't forget to check back each week for exclusive giveaways, and you could be sipping on the best in the game. Huge shout out to Moyo Love Juice Joint for their support. Let's raise a glass and keep the good vibes flowing. Hey everyone, it's Hunter from the Smoke Me Out podcast. We're excited to share that Tony's Pizza in Williamsport is now a part of the Smoke Me Out family. Tony's is the go-to spot for delicious, mouth-watering pizza and amazing service that never disappoints. We're proud to partner with a local favorite that always delivers. Check back each week for exclusive giveaways. You might just score a free pie or some awesome swag. Big thanks to Tony's Pizza for supporting the podcast and the community. Let's keep it cheesy and support the local businesses.